Welcome everyone to Real Estate with Gwen Price, and we're doing our monthly market update. We're a little bit delayed with that, with all these different things that have come up, but here we are, and we're going to talk about what's going on up to the end of July anyway, and just hi ladies, how's everybody doing? We still got a little bit of summer left, eh?
Good. Yeah, weather's good. Can't complain. Market is still pretty steady, so
yeah,
all good.
Yeah, I am pretty busy right now. I mean, there's more listings that I've got coming up, but when I look at the stats at the end of July, listings were up 1% from last year at this time. Sales are down 10% from last year, and the average sale price compared to last year at the end of July was up 24%. But when I look month to month, our peak seemed to have been in February, where average sale price for the city was $489,000. At the end of July, it was about $478,000. So it's down about 3% from the peak, down about 2% from June. So, but we're not yet experiencing what other places are. When people are reading the headlines about what's going on in Toronto and there's slashing prices to some degree, we still have some multiple offers on some products, right? In the lower price range, I find there's still a lot of interest because that can be first-time buyers, investors, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's still where the most active market competition wise, I find as well, is the more reasonable price ranges. So
yeah, in the 200, as soon as you see something in the 200s, there's a lot of people with eyes on it because yeah, I think buyers are still trying to get in the market, and maybe they're trying to do that before the next rate increase. Trina, we're going to have another one? It's on the horizon, or what do we know?
We don't know anything, to be honest with you.
We're going by the seat of our pants every day, right?
Well, it's interesting because the economists are saying that inflation is down as of the end of July, and then they're waiting to see what the end of August looks like. And it's not like we're down to like major change, down to like 2% or 3%, but it's down a bit, which is really great. The bond market is moving up a little bit. So fixed rates in June were about 4.89 and they're down to about 4.59 right now, which is about, I would say 0.7% higher than where we were pre-COVID, just for a little perspective.
Yeah.
And the variable rate still looking at around 3.75. When I'm talking about these rates, they're all based on, purchases with less than 20% down.
Mm-hmm.
And the prime rate is 0.75% higher than it was pre-COVID. So based on how high inflation is right now, we're still doing very well when it comes to interest rates.
Yeah.
Versus where we were.
That 1% hike, I think that just sort of startled everybody, and for a while it seemed to freeze things, but there's a lot of activity still going on out there, I find, and maybe that's not in other centers, but
there is.
I've got buyers out there looking, and they're trying to negotiate, of course, but and sometimes they can and sometimes they can't.
Well, it's very interesting. So Gwen, when you quote average house prices, does the board actually release a breakdown of price ranges of sales? Like, let's say to 200,000, then 2 to 300, like that kind of thing?
Yeah, like that's something, yeah, I can pull that out at any time. And you do see like that 300, 400,000 seems to be where the peak is. So even though the average sale price, that's probably why it's just under the 5 and has been staying there for the last 5-6 months. We had all the rush before, but it's been pretty stable really for the last few months. But yeah.
Would you say that like your volumes and how you guys are doing out there, things like that, are back to like normalized
I think we're getting there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're getting there where you're not seeing the frenzy happening when you have something on the market, you know what I mean? Where some agents are getting away from the holding offers kind of situation. And it's just basically, you know what, bring us your offer when you can. So I think we're getting back to that pre-COVID craziness, you know, that happened. So
Yeah, I
That's
find
nice.
that too. Yeah, I mean, and the offers now, even in multiple offer situations, are not necessarily unconditional. So we're back to seeing financing conditions and inspections, which
Yeah.
opens up a whole other negotiation sometimes, depending on what goes on with those inspections. But you know, those cash deals, there's still, you know, when we're saying cash, we're talking unconditional offers. We're still seeing some of it, and some sellers will take less money to get that without having to go through an inspection, right? But
Yeah.
but you can, yeah, there is that shift, definitely sort of pre-COVID, where we were, you know, negotiating, where the seller wasn't the one in total control. It's a bit
Yeah.
more
Right.
balanced now, but
Yeah.
That's great.
yeah.
It is. It's good for everybody, I think. You know, having buyers being able to do their own due diligence and have inspections done and things like that, it really brings a little bit more peace of mind to the purchase. So
Yeah, and they have a chance at buying a house, where
Yeah.
so many of them, you know, there was a few couples that I had, you just constantly writing offers, and they're not getting, even when they were, some of them were going 100 over or more to buy a house. And so finally, some of them are able to get their house and get started. And I think there's part of that too, maybe why there's still a lot of activity, especially in the lower ranges. They're just trying to get in the market, because over time, of course, the prices will continue to go up. People think,
well, and that's the thing. I don't think we're going to see that huge market correction where people's property values are going to drop by $100,000. It just, personally and professionally looking at the market, I don't know that I think that that's really a realistic expectation. And you know, getting things back to normal and slowing the market down so it is a real more reasonable, you know, negotiation time, I think is important. I think that's a good thing. But I don't think we're going to see that huge market price drop that, you know,
Yeah.
some economists are saying, oh, you're going to see a huge market correction and this and that. And then, you know, a week later, they come back and say, well, you know, maybe it's not going to be as huge as we thought. And, you know, nobody knows. Nobody knows.
Yeah.
You can't predict it. Nobody predicted this whole thing through COVID. Nobody predicted COVID either. So you just got to take it as it comes and, you know, ride the wave like we always have. It's up and down. That's just the way the markets are.
Well, and one of the things I find surprising, and maybe because I'm hanging out in lumber yards more than ever, my usual, I always hang out in lumber yards, but I cannot believe how many, they're packed, they're full, there's people buying lots of, so I'm thinking, okay, well, if everybody's in such dire straits, how are they affording all this? But they're out there spending, like, I mean, it's almost like Costco in some of these lumber yards on a regular basis, where there's so many people in there, and you're lined up to get your lumber out the door. I'm wondering, okay, what's going on? Like, why is that? Are everybody doing all their renovations, or what are they doing? Getting their house ready to sell, or they bought a house they needed? I don't know what's going on, but they're spending money.
Yeah, they are. Maybe they're refinancing, Trina, and doing some renovations.
Lots of garages.
Well,
Yeah.
that's a garage.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been surprising the number of detached garages that I've been doing refinances for so people can build them.
Yeah. Well,
That makes sense. That makes
yeah.
sense.
I mean, up here in the north, it's a big thing. Yeah, most people, I don't have a garage. My office is where the garage was, but a lot of people want garages, because up here we've got lots of extra things in addition to the cars. Sometimes in those garages, there are no vehicles. It's got a boat, it's got a snow machine, it's got a quad, it's got all kinds of things other than an actual vehicle park. I've seen triple car garage where they couldn't close the door.
Yes, that's,
Yeah,
that's
and there's
quite
no cars in
it
them now.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Just a reminder, because of the rate increases, that pre-approvals that were done prior to, I'm going to say March,
Mhm.
should be updated,
Okay, yeah.
Good to know. Yeah.
especially with the 1% increase that the Bank of Canada made. Now that benchmark of 5.25 no longer exists. It's
Correct.
whatever 2% of the contract rate is of the mortgage.
Okay.
And
So,
that could be significant.
well, and that's a big reason why a lot of people are going variable too right now, is that, you know, you look at a variable rate of 3.7, then we're qualifying at 5.7. Whereas if you're looking at 4.59, then we're
Mhm.
qualifying at 6.59.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
that's a big difference.
every time those numbers move, a pre-approval needs to be redone. The government hasn't done anything about setting a new benchmark rate
Mhm.
yet.
Well, and-
Interesting. Good to
yeah,
know.
yeah, and I actually, I was, looking at something the other day, and I pulled a mortgage document, and it had 8% on it. And, and I used to think, anything under 10 was great, right?
Yes.
But that's back in 1994. But I certainly remember a lot higher, and everybody always says, yeah, but the prices of houses was a lot. Yes, but a lot of things were a lot less back in 1994.
It's all relative to
Yeah.
It is.
what your dollar value can buy, right?
Yeah.
It's all relative to that. So
But we've had these low interest rates for so long that it's sticker shock when they started to increase them, right? And especially, like I say, that last 1% was, whoa.
Well,
Yeah.
they pulled the Band-Aid off, right? Instead
Yeah.
of fooling around, they
Yeah,
just
little
did it.
incremental increases.
Yeah,
They did one.
exactly. So it's hard to say what's going to happen in September, what the
Yeah.
Bank of Canada is going to do. No one's even making a guess at this point.
Well, like
no,
part of what
I wouldn't.
sorry, go ahead, Lana.
I wouldn't expect anybody to even attempt to make a guess. Like everything, it's it's just too much going on. You just have to kind of, like I said, ride the wave, wait and see what happens.
Like, I think if they increase it so much and they stall all of the real estate, because it's not just us as part of the equation in real estate world, right? There's so many spin-offs off of a real estate transaction. There's mortgages, there's lawyers, there's home inspectors, there's so much to it that if you totally stall that, what happens, right? That's a huge part of the economy, is what goes on in real estate.
Well, the increase isn't just about cooling off the real estate. It's about cooling our economy, right? Like everyone, I don't know if your mailboxes have been full with notices from your credit card companies or not, but anyone who has credit cards or lines of credit, anything that's variable, everyone is getting letters in the mail right now saying, guess what? Your interest rate just went up.
Yeah.
Rack up your credit cards.
And I think that's what's hurting a lot of people right now is those high rate items you're talking about, like lines of credit cards, loans on vehicles, if you can even get a vehicle. I'm still waiting. But so there's a lot more to it. Yes, for sure. Things were getting pretty hot and furious there for a while. And but anyway, Sudbury, like I always say, we seem to weather a lot of the storms. Sudbury's not the Sudbury it was 30 years ago. We much more stable place. Yes, our prices for Sudburyans, when we look at it, are pretty high, but when the rest of the world looks at ours, it looks like a good place to invest. So,
and Lana, like you said, when the government, stop telling people that, we need to keep it for ourselves.
That's right. Yeah, don't come here. But where I find it hard all the time is when I'm dealing with seniors and they're wanting to get out of their house and they want to move on. I just took someone to have a look at play, and you're talking $4,000, $5,000 a month for a retirement home, and that includes food, but I don't know, it's gonna be, we still need so much more affordable housing for people, not just seniors, but for
Yeah.
a lot of other people, right?
Yeah, we do.
And, so hopefully there's some kind of thing in the works for that sooner rather than later, because, yeah, it's tough. Yes, people have got a lot of equity in their house, but that can only carry you so far when you're talking about $4,000 and $5,000 a month.
Yeah, you're right.
For sure, yes.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens. Or I can't believe how fast this summer has flown by. It's almost the end, another week, and we're at the end of August. It just blows my mind.
I'm hitting camp next Wednesday.
Yeah.
I'm taking an extra long weekend because the weather's supposed to be beautiful.
Yeah,
And
it is. Yeah.
I agree, Gwen. Like, I don't even know how it's the end of August right now.
I know, it just went by so fast. It feels like, okay,
Yeah.
it's mid-June, and then I look at the calendar again, I'm like, holy crap, it's September next week.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I don't know. Anyway, well, thank you, lady. This is great talking to you as always, and we'll see what happens. See how August turns out.
See what happens.
Yes.
Okay,
Okay, thank you
Take
both.
care.
And we'll see you
Thanks.
soon.
Okay.